What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rant Review Pro Wrestling. It is the biggest event of the year for All Elite Wrestling, all in Wembley, all in 2024. Coming from London, 50,000 people plus at the show. Yes, of course, let's address it. It's down from last year, but that happens. These things happen. AEW, however, despite all of the bad press and the issues and everything else, they're still able to draw 50,000 people to a show. Talk about the actual show. The show opened up with the Trios, it's the Trios Tag Team Championships. I forgot they split them. They've got a ladder match with the House of Black, the newly formed team, because the rumors that Pentagon and Jr. and Ray Phoenix may be headed to WWE. It is Pac teaming with the Blackpool Combat Clubs, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. They are also taking on the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson and the Guns, and the champions, the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus, aka Kill Switch, something. Anyway, this match was a little sloppy. A lot of the big table spots didn't quite hit. It looks like some guys were free. It may have just been nerves. You got to remember, outside of really Christian, Malachi, and Juice, like most of everybody else in this match is not used to wrestling from these big crowds. Of course, Juice did it in Japan. Christian and Black, coming from WWE. But this was a fun match. It just didn't quite hit. There was a fun spot with Mama Wayne when she tried to spray Juice with some mace or whatever, or hairspray. Juice blocked it with the chair, and then Juice looked like he was about to power drive her through the table, but he got hit by Luchasaurus, and then Juice was all over the place in this match. He was a highlight for sure. Christian tried to avoid all of the calamity in the first 5 minutes of the match and try to come down and climb the ladder. I will talk about some of the production fumbles. One of them was in this show. Maybe the belt should have been a little bit higher. We could have tested that out ahead of time with that ladder, so the ladder wouldn't knock into the belts. Because I think they were just lucky that the ladder didn't knock the belt off of the thing, because that would have ruined the whole match. Fortunately, it didn't go that bad. But we do have new Trios champions. Pac, along with Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli, are your new Trios champions. An okay match, an okay opener. I get what they were going for. The execution just quite wasn't there. However, the next match, the execution was completely there from top to bottom. Mariah May challenging Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. This match is so entertaining and fantastic and wonderful. And it's a very sports entertainment style match. I'm going to let you know about that ahead of time. There's a lot of shenanigans, a lot of storylines paid off, because that's the trend right now. And they definitely did that in this match, paying off so many spots, so much history between these two women. Nigel McGuinness even got a kiss during the match from Mariah May, right before Mariah May then hit her mother, which, okay. Toni Storm, however, suffers her own downfall. She's got Mariah bleeding. She's got Mariah on her knees. She's got the bloody shoe. She's the one that came up with the catchphrase of "watch out for the shoe." And Toni didn't hit Mariah. She should have done it and gotten disqualified. We would have been fine with that ending. However, she threw the shoe away, and then Mariah May made a reversal and a couple of moves, and then hit Toni Storm with her own Storm Zero and got the 3 count. That's right. Mariah May is your new AEW Women's Champion and beat Toni Storm with her own finisher. That's crazy. Toni gets a raucous cheer from the crowd after the match. They love Toni Storm. I love Toni Storm. She's my favorite character in AEW right now, and I look forward to see what she's going to do in the future. The next couple matches, you had Hook and Chris Jericho. Jericho's with Fozzy, of course, singing himself to the ring. This was a FTW Championship match. Hook tried his damnedest to, do the old John Moxley thing from a couple years ago with the one eye thing. And of course, it turned out his eye wasn't really that badly injured. And he came back and fought his way, and he had a little help from his dad as Jericho gets choked out by Hook, while Taz takes out Brian Keith with his own choke. Simultaneously, Hook is the new FTW champion. Match was okay. This is the best stuff Jericho can do now, and it does, it's entertaining. It does provide some laughs here and there because Jericho's still pretty funny. A lot of people still just have had enough of him for a while. I don't know if he's ever going to recover from that, but we'll see. The AEW World Tag Team Championship in the triple threat match, FTR, the Acclaimed, the Challenge, and the Young Bucks for the championship. I thought this match was pretty good. At this point in time, it's very hard for the Bucks and FTR to kind of top any match they've had. Throwing in the Acclaim was pretty cool, but we got the Grizzled Young Vets, Zach Gibson, James Drake coming to the ring, and they stare down the retaining champions before they went after FTR, and that allowed the Young Bucks to hold on to the World Tag Team Championship. So the AEW Tag Division getting a much needed, new tag team in the division. The match was okay. It was the first time I've heard the Midnight Express theme song or variation of it for the entirety of my wrestling fandom. It's the first time I've ever heard any crowd chant to it, so that was pretty cool. Rest in peace, Bobby Eaton and Dennis. You guys are still echoing on. That's how you live forever. Casino Gauntlet match. This is probably one of the highlights of the night. The match started with Orange Cassidy, and then we didn't know who else was coming in. And for those of you who don't know, the Casino Battle Royal is kind of the reverse Royal Rumble. So it's two guys start, but the person who draws, you want number one, you don't want the last number, because whoever wins, whatever pinfall is scored, that person wins the match. So technically you could be entered into the match and never actually show up. And they kind of play with the fact that somebody is entered in the match and some wrestlers have never even gotten to participate in the match who were in it. But Orange Cassidy starts out first, Okada second. Nigel McGuinness, the big shock coming out. And he looked good, in good shape. He's in good ring shape. It's going to be very hard for him to be unbiased with commentary now, because he's bested some of these guys. He was looking good in the ring. He can hang with all these guys. Kyle O'Reilly was in here. The G1 Climax 34 winner himself, Zack Sabre Jr., making a surprise appearance. That was pretty cool. Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, who's always entertaining. Hangman Adam Page coming in for the same dubious reasons McGuinness is coming into this, because McGuinness is, in case Britt or Bryan wins, and I'll be able to challenge for the title. And Hangman's in case Swerve wins, I still get a shot to take the title off of Swerve. Jeff Jarrett came out to a huge pop. Jarrett's career in the last couple of months has experienced a renaissance. People are just good character building with him. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, we'll get to that in a second, but the biggest shock of this match was the AEW debut of Ricochet. The rumors are true. Ricochet makes his return to the world of pro wrestling in North America. Well, actually, this was in Europe, but he'll be wrestling in another major North American-based company, and got a lot of reaction. First thing out of my mind, I can't wait. We're going to get Ricochet and Will Ospreay. Cannot wait for that to come up pretty soon. But it was the inclusion of Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, who lost the trios titles earlier tonight, which was weird. And Luchasaurus came out as Luchasaurus and not Kill whatever. And it was like, wait a minute, is Luchasaurus finally dropping the kill switch thing? Is he going to turn on Christian Cage? They made you think it was going to happen just for it not to again. Luchasaurus actually helps Christian Cage, of all people, to win, mind you, this Battle Royal, who the winner gets a shot at the AEW World Championship. And I think that may have been an early Easter egg, but this match was a hell of a lot of fun. That may have been a spoiler for what was going to happen in the main event. AEW American Championship Match, Will Ospreay taking on MJF. Probably one of the best matches on the night. There's three matches. Well, there's a lot of great matches on this show. There are four really good ones I suggest you watch if you haven't seen the show, but this was definitely one of them. Following up with their near hour-long win earlier, or hour-long match about a couple months ago, Ospreay, MJF showing all kinds of pageantry in this. As Will Ospreay, who's long made it known that he's an Assassin's Creed fan, apparently sponsored by Assassin's Creed. They got a game coming out this year. Ospreay gets an official sponsorship for his entrance from Assassin's Creed. there you go. AEW is not like totally in the dumps. Assassin's Creed's pouring some money into advertisements. It's again, there's a lot of WWE sports entertainment kind of stuff to a show like this, and there's just going to be. So some of it's okay, some of it a little bit much. We'll talk about that later. But MJF, he comes out to a Yankee Doodle, presentation. He comes out to his song. He's got the American flags all over the place with his face on it. He's just going so overboard with it. Comes out in a variation of Apollo Creed's costume from the first Rocky movie. And then when he takes off his robe, he's wearing the trunks that are very, very similar to the trunks that Lex Luger wore in the WWF back in 1993 during the whole Lex Express thing. So MJF, student of the game, going all in. He is... and these two just work magic together. This match, a lot of people are going to have a difference of opinion. I think technically this match was not as technical as their first match as far as the in-ring was concerned, but I think which people have been asking for, the storytelling was better in this match, and this is all great. They hit like every major plot point that is built up to this match along the way in the match, including the Tiger Driver, including Daniel Garcia, who a lot of people thought was leaving AEW, showed up, spoiled Max's little attempt at winning and his cheating and the shenanigans, and Will Ospreay does hit the Tiger Driver 91. It looked nasty, and pins MJF to regain and rechristen the championship, the AEW International Championship. So this is pretty cool. This is a pretty good match. It's definitely one of the highlights of the night. It will be followed up by another good match that almost got to the same point, and that's for the TBS Championship, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Mercedes Moné. One of the dream matches when Mercedes came to AEW. This match did deliver. There was a lot of clever stuff in this match. Same thing with the Tony Storm match from earlier. Britt kind of out Eddie Guerrero's Mercedes at one point, but it was a kind of a flat finish. Mercedes does get the win, and it was off. This match is off a little bit. I hope they get a rematch so we can see a better match from the two of them. I think it's just jitters from not having worked with each other a lot. It's all good. It's all good. To be mentioned, Mercedes Moné came out with a corgi. And she's in the whole Queen of England carriage ride and everything else. You knew she was going to steal the spotlight for the entrance of the night. Next up was a match that was, I also expected a little bit more out of. Jack Perry defending the TNT Championship against Darby Allin in a coffin match. This was as brutal and crazy as you thought it would. Darby glued thumbtacks to his head before the match. I mean, Darby Allin's nuts. And Jack Perry, he's got no compunction about doing stuff, including, of course, using real glass in the match, which got a huge pop from the crowd because, of course, it was last year with the whole controversy with CM Punk. You had a good portion of the crowd chanting F CM Punk during this match. There were some CM Punk faithful, of course, that could be heard still chanting for CM Punk. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't need to go into it anymore. The guy's song is Cult of Personality. You want to cheer for him and be all about him, then you can. If you don't want to cheer for him and don't want to be all about him, I don't really care. The match I thought was going to keep going, but it was like we had like a 3-minute finish because it was tying up Darby's legs and then tying up Darby's hands and then throwing him around and putting him in the back in the body bag and then putting the body bag in a coffin and then finally hitting him with the knee and spitting on him and closing the casket. And I was like, oh, we've been at this. This is a 3-minute plan for him to get Darby into the casket. It took a very long time. They were going to set it on fire. The Bucks came out with gasoline after the match, and Sting, to seek and destroy from Metallica, makes an appearance after his retirement to save Darby from being toasted alive. The match was okay. I enjoyed the spectacle of it, but it did feel like there were certain things that were off here and there. The AEW World Heavyweight Championship match is the main event. Bryan Danielson putting his career on the line against Swerve Strickland. The way they have played this is phenomenal. A lot of people are complaining because Danielson in non-TV AEW TV interviews was talking about how this might be the end of his career and he was ready to retire and he was doing it for his family, and there were fans who were upset like, well, you're just giving away the ending. They swerved you. They did. This match, slow burn match, but it built and built and built, and this is wonderful, brilliant sports entertainment, pro wrestling, all rolled into one. Again, the story, people keep talking about, and then I've mocked it for so long about AEW not having storylines. They brought so many together in this match. You got Brie and Bryan Danielson's kids outside the ring. Danielson bloodied and battered, looked like he was outclassed by Swerve the entire match. Swerve is trying to put him away. Some great near falls in this match, but they didn't do it the cliched way. They threw a couple wrinkles in there. You thought Danielson was going to win at one point, then you thought Swerve was going to win at one point, then you thought Danielson was going to win again, then you thought, oh no, that didn't work. Swerve's going to come back and Swerve was going to win, and was setting him up for the finish. But Bryan came back and hit a Psycho knee, but Swerve brushed off the Psycho knee, and you were like, oh, that's it. That was a great piece of booking right there. It's like something out of like a comic book or a video game. Like, you hit him with your best shot and he just brushes it off. It's like, well, what are you going to do now, right? Fortunately for Danielson and everybody else in the arena who probably would have rioted if Danielson had lost that match by this point, Hangman Adam Page tries to get involved, jumps over the guardrail, goes after Nana. Him and Swerve are barking orders. Danielson uses this distraction to hit the Psycho knee. But then he goes for the submission. Swerve looks like he's getting out of it, but Bryan pulls on the fingers, kind of an homage to his buddy Zack Sabre Jr. on the night, puts him in a submission, and Swerve has no choice but to tap out. I was shocked, because like I said, this match was 50-50, and the way they've been going, it made you feel, really made you feel like Danielson was going to lose. But again, I think since Christian already just faced Swerve for the championship, I think it was kind of given away a little bit by Christian winning. If you thought about it in the middle of the show, that Christian won the Casino Battle Royal, and he's getting the next shot at the title whenever he wants. So, yeah, it kind of looked like it would probably be Danielson, but I wasn't sure. It was a pleasant surprise and a great way to end this show with the Blackpool Combat Club, Pac. I don't know where Jon Moxley is. I haven't really looked into that lately. I have to look into that. But it was a great celebration. His son's picking up the confetti on the ground, on the mat. His daughter's jumping up and down. She's caught the wrestling bug, apparently. And Bree sits there kissing her bloody husband as he holds aloft the AEW Championship. The final countdown ringing out in the arena. AEW All In 2024 closes on a great note. And I gotta say, overall, I mean, the show had some problems. The show had some production issues. I don't know why the floor mats weren't covering the whole thing. I mean, these are nitpick things. People are going to point them out, though. The floor mats didn't cover the whole floor. Some of the camera shots were kind of silly. They shot a section of the audience that was sparsely populated. There were 50,000 people here. And before Tony Storm's thing, they showed this like one shot of one of the upper decks where there's like 8 people in 50 seats. Like, who approved that? Some of the shots were beautiful. The overhead shot leading to Swerve Strickland's entrance was fantastic. All of the shots from outside of Wembley as the pyro went off for guys like Ospreay, and that was cool. But there were some production flubs, as tend to be, and they need to get that kind of sorted out at this point, 5 years in. But overall, it was a great show. I enjoyed it. One I definitely suggest. The 4 matches, I think, are definite standouts. I would definitely go with Toni Storm and Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship. That was a great match. The Casino Gauntlet match, Battle Royal, that was fantastic. Ospreay and MJF, definitely fantastic. And the main event, Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson. Danielson, I think this is the second most feel-good moment that I've seen in his career since that WrestleMania 30 win. But that one was kind of more, kind of a fait accompli. You kind of knew it was going to happen, even though some people doubted it. This one, I didn't know if this was Danielson. This was the way Danielson wanted to go out at Wembley. I didn't know if this was going to be it. And they played it very, very, very well. Very smart stuff here by AEW. A well-done show. all around. But I want to know what you guys think. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Did you enjoy the main event? What do you think about the winners and losers? What do you think about the debuts of Ricochet, the return of Jamie Hayter on the pre-show? No Bobby Lashley, no MVP. We'll see if that's happening in the future. But if last year's All In was a bittersweet one in the negative, I think this year's All In is a bittersweet in the positive. Plus the fact that they announced that they're now doing the same kind of schedule that WWE's doing, and they're going to start doing international pay-per-views. They're coming back for Forbidden Door next year, which will be in the UK. And they're doing a Grand Slam in Australia coming up in February. I'm not so sure whether or not that's replacing the Revolution show in the States. But look, I think it's a good idea. That does seem to be the trend that WWE established. Maybe do some more shows internationally. And yeah, I think it's a good look for AEW. I think it's a good plan for them. Of course, All In next year will be in Texas, which there's going to be a lot talked about that over the next 12 months 11 months, I think, until we get there. But again, I want to know what you guys thought about this year's All In. And until next time, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and reviews on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.